Yo, what's up? Today we're gonna dive deep into the topic of grenades. In the beginning I'm gonna show you all the basics that are important to know, and then we go straight into some really nice and spicy advanced techniques and strategies that you can use. Most of them the player base doesn't even know, so you're gonna get lots of methods to surprise your enemies and blow them up. Let's find out how. First, which types of grenades actually exist in the game? Well, if you go to the shop and then weaponry and then equipment delivery, which is basically everything except for normal guns, you're gonna get your special stuff, and here you find all of the grenades. Now, depending on the nation that you play, some of them have some grenades not available. For example, Soviets don't have phosphor grenades, but the normal types of grenades all actions have access to. So the most basic grenade is the fragmentation grenade, simply called grenade. This very basic grenade is also one of the strongest. Now here's the thing, it has the biggest blast radius and also very high damage, so the damage potential is immense. This thing can blow up huge groups of enemies. Next one is the smoke grenade. Now the smoke grenade is possibly the worst in the game, which is also indicated by the fact that it costs only 1 bronze compared to 1 silver. Reason for that is no one's gonna buy them anyway for silver, so GAIJIN knows, alright, let's try to get at least some currency out of the player base. Now the smoke grenade has the problem of being A, obviously not capable of killing enemies, and B, the smoke is actually quite small and not really impressive. And this isn't Counter-Strike, where smoke can perfectly cut off the sides of enemies. We are playing with huge maps, huge open maps, and yes, it just doesn't work. The only way to make this work is by amassing it, by having 2 or 3 grenades, and then just create a big huge smoke front, and then use it as cover. But this won't even work most of the time, because if there's a tank, if the enemies have a tank, they're just gonna shoot high explosives into the smoke cover or behind it and kill you all. So small grenades don't really work that well in Enlisted. Also, they didn't really work that well in the World War II in general, so I can't really recommend using it. Then we get the explosion pack. The explosion pack got nerfed significantly a couple of times, because it used to be quite realistic, meaning it had a ridiculously strong explosion, and it's the only grenade that can reliably kill tanks, and it can even kill the strongest tanks in the game if you know where to throw it or apply it. It got nerfed, so the explosion isn't as strong anymore, and now the explosion against infantry is much weaker than of the normal grenade. Obviously not realistic, but well, it creates game balance, because before the nerfs you didn't have any reason at all to use the normal grenades. Now the explosion pack is the most universally usable grenade, because if you can only pick 1 grenade for your soldier, which one would you pick? One that can kill enemies or do smoke or some other fancy stuff, or the one that can do all of that also a little bit? It also can kill lots of enemies, but can also kill tanks. But this is the point. This is the most important fact about the TNT pack, about the explosion pack, is it can kill tanks. So if you're not sure which grenades to get, just get your soldiers these, because they are the most useful ones overall. Then we get the Molotov, my personal favorite, because it looks very cool and impressive, especially if it's in a dark area where you have nice light effects. I use it most of the time for fun. Angriff! Though, don't make the assumption it's weak. No, it's actually good. It's actually good. Reason is, it burns quite long and it covers a huge area. And it can actually cover a larger area than the effective area of the smoke grenade. So here's the thing how you use it. You want to, well, you can also use it as a universal grenade, similar to the explosion pack, because it can definitely kill enemies, it can buy you time, and it can also disable or even kill vehicles. Because if you hit a good spot, congratulations, the enemy tank isn't as effective anymore, and weaker vehicles, and especially open vehicles, get completely shredded. So this is quite good. It's more flexible, more tricky to use, but also quite universal as the explosion pack. Then we get the impact grenade. Well, if there wasn't a smoke grenade in the game, this would be by far the weakest grenade. Reason for that is, it's similar to the normal grenade, but the normal grenade you have to count, and it explodes after a while. The impact grenade explodes instantly when it contacts something. Now here's the problem. It has a much smaller blast radius and less explosion power. So the damage potential is just much weaker. And finally we have the phosphor grenade. I like it. Look at the kill feed. Oh yes. Oh yes. These used to be ridiculously overpowered. Then they got nerfed a couple of times, meaning their cloud volume, the volume of the gas cloud, got reduced, and the duration time got reduced significantly. Now they're not as overpowered anymore as before, and also there's a strong argument to be made that Molotovs got better overall than the phosphor grenades, but there are still some ways to make them broken again if you use them with some nice strategies. Having to rely on one grenade, of course, is very one-dimensional, and the real magic kicks in once you have access to multiple grenades. Because now, instead of grenades being just a nice thing you have on top of what you already have, now the grenades actually become something you can rely on and actually use as your main weaponry. So here are the ways to maximize this feature that the game gives you. First thing you need is a grenade pouch, preferably a large grenade pouch, and you get them in the same place in the shop where you get the normal grenades. Now, once you equip a grenade pouch, you can see with our grenade pouch there's only one grenade slot, but once you equip the grenade pouch, you instantly get access to more grenades. And here's where the magic starts, because instead of having to, for example, wield only the average, the most basic explosion packs, now you can wield any combination of grenades that you want. The most basic one is the one that I use on almost every single soldier, and it's this one here. One Molotov, one explosion pack, one grenade. Reason for this is the following. First of all, the order in the game is exactly the opposite of what you see here. Meaning in the game, when you click on grenades, the first grenade you grab is going to be the one on the right. Then you're going to get the explosion pack, and then you're going to get the Molotov. Here's the logic behind that. When you are going towards something and you want to attack or you want to defend, obviously infantry are going to be the biggest problem. For that purpose you want a normal grenade, especially if you're attacking an objective and you want to throw the first grenade to clear out the objective and get lots of kills. Then most of the time you would want one of these, either explosion pack to create another explosion, or Molotov to slow down enemies, or just also to block off an area. And well, one of these. Now, why is the order exactly first grenade, then explosion pack, then Molotov? Here's the reason. If your soldier gets downed, if you get downed with all grenades accessible to you, you can quickly press the 5 button, and you're gonna release the grenades in exactly the same order as you would grab them. Meaning, first you release the normal grenade, then explosion pack, and then Molotov. Once you release these, they're gonna stay on the ground for around 5 to 6 seconds until they explode. Meaning your enemies can still run away, yeah? But wait, no, they can't, because we released the Molotov as the last one. And it instantly explodes, the same as an impact grenade, it instantly explodes. And now everything's burning and they can't just run away as easily and as quickly. Also, many players react very stressed to fire, which is, well, normal, and therefore you get another, therefore you give them another reaction time penalty, basically. So this is the reason why I have this order. You want the Molotov as the last one, because if it was this way, and if you're downed, you release this one first, then you release this too. Once you are on the ground and you catch fire with a Molotov, you can die instantly. You don't want this, so you absolutely want this order. This gives you the maximum damage output on your downed soldiers. Now, if you're not downed, well, obviously the order of grenades is good. Obviously, you also can, if you threw this already and you grab this one, but you want the Molotov instead, well, you click once again on the grenade button, then you get the other grenade. So this is no problem. But if you're downed, you can't choose your order, and this is exactly why you want it. Try it out. It's gonna give you some ridiculous kills in ridiculous situations, and it's gonna slow down your enemies extremely, because you can also start doing things like running into enemy groups and just expecting to get downed. Now, another thing you can do is you can, instead of the Molotov, use the impact grenade. This, by the way, literally the only reason to use impact grenades in the game, the way how weak they are right now. If you have this variant, you drop your grenades, and then you drop this one, and it instantly explodes. Contrary to the Molotov, this version doesn't give your enemies time to run away. And since this grenade isn't as strong, it won't necessarily trigger these grenades, and it won't also necessarily kill your enemies, but they will get downed. And then, well, these grenades are gonna explode after 5 to 6 seconds, and then everyone's gonna die. So both versions are viable. Due to the Molotov being significantly better overall than the impact grenades, I personally don't really use this version. I just use this version. Another funny thing you can do is you can basically create self-deletion bombers. I won't use the other word because YouTube otherwise is gonna kick us. You do the following: you just grab an impact grenade into your hands, run into the enemy group, and if you can throw it, congratulations, you're gonna kill them. If they shoot you, well, your grenade is gonna drop down on the floor and gonna blow up and explode them too. Now, this only works if you're close enough, and once again, in a similar situation, I would rather throw a Molotov into them or a grenade. The grenade obviously needs some time that you need for hiding. On an open area, I would rather have the Molotov because I can instantly throw it and I know I will instantly get an effect and the enemies don't have time to run away. So another reason why the Molotovs are so good: they instantly explode, they instantly have an effect, and you don't have too much time to react. Now, the other combos that you can use is, you can use 3 smoke grenades. Now, if you have a squad of soldiers, especially rifleman squads, you have so many of them. Now, if you're one of the person who didn't listen to me and didn't play your rifleman with always 2 grenade launchers or just 2 weapons, give them a random backpack and give one of them, for example, 3 smokes. So give 2 of them 3 smokes, and now you can actually create a giant smoke front. And you can also give the other types, for example, other 2s you give, well, normal grenades or Molotovs. What you can also do is, as some people did, just give a couple of them 3 phosphor.
Shot the shit out of them with a... what's it called? Oh my god, the white phosphorus.
Is that ours or theirs?
Don't know, I just know there's phosphorus everywhere, bro.
And for the end, the most important thing about grenades in general is the timer delay. Every single grenade in the game that isn't exploding on impact explodes after around 6 seconds. This means once you grab a grenade, if you throw it instantly, it's gonna explode after 6 seconds. Now, if you want to not give your enemies time to run away, especially vehicles, to drive away, you're gonna do the following. You grab it and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, and it explodes. So you want to count in this exact way. If you count in this exact way, it's going to explode on 6 or 6.5. There's always some deviation since you're a human and not a machine. And all you need to do to get precise and perfect with this is just getting a couple of dozens repetitions or just watch my full games where I do it constantly, and you can also just do the same timer and the same timing as I do. Also keep in mind, the exact release time depends on the distance from you and your target. If your target is close, release it on 5. If it's very close, release it on 5 to 6. I basically almost always released on 5. Now here the target was quite far away. It was behind a wall, so we had to throw the grenade in a parabolic way, meaning not in a straight line but in a curved line, which takes longer. And the tank was even driving away from us. And all of this means the grenade is going to be longer in the air, so we have to calculate a longer flying time. And this means I threw it on 4 and expected it to fly for 1.5 to 2 seconds. And this is exactly what it did, and we perfectly blew up the Tiger. Now, that's the end of part 1. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe and share the videos with your nerd friends, so our nerd division here grows. See you in part 2. Goodbye.